Hello, and welcome back to BBX Learning English Podcast. I'm Jack, your host. Today, Rosa will join us instead of Julia. Hey, Rosa, how are you doing today?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jack. So happy you're joining us. Today, we're tackling that frustrating situation where you understand English but just can't seem to speak it. Sound familiar?
It's super common. You can watch English movies, listen to podcasts, and read books. But when you talk, total brain freeze. You struggle to find words and feel too nervous to even try.
That's right, Jack. And if this happens to you, don't worry. You are not alone. This is a very normal stage in learning any language. The good news: we've got solutions and you can definitely overcome this.
We'll break down why this happens and share practical techniques to help you start speaking more naturally and confidently. You can start using these right away.
By the end, you'll know exactly how to overcome speaking anxiety and finally jump into real conversations. Ready to dive in?
Let's get started. So, Rosa, why do so many people understand English but can't speak it?
Great question. There are a few big reasons. The biggest one? Fear of making mistakes. People worry about saying something wrong or using bad grammar, so they just stay quiet.
I totally get that fear. But here's the truth. Everyone makes mistakes when learning. Even native speakers mess up all the time.
Exactly. Another reason is not enough speaking practice. Lots of learners spend tons of time listening and reading, which is great for understanding, but they never actually practice talking.
It's like trying to learn swimming by just watching videos, but never getting wet. You won't improve until you jump in.
Perfect example. Another huge issue is overthinking grammar. People try to build perfect sentences in their head before speaking, but by then, the conversation has already moved on.
So true. It's better to just speak naturally and fix mistakes later. What's another reason people struggle?
Well, many learners don't have an English-speaking environment. They might live somewhere where nobody speaks English, so they don't get daily practice.
That's definitely challenging, but you don't need to live in an English-speaking country to improve. There are tons of ways to make your own practice environment, which we'll get to in a minute.
Right. So to sum up, people struggle because they're afraid of mistakes, don't practice enough, overthink grammar, and don't have enough English around them. But don't worry, we've got solutions for all of these.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that big barrier first, the fear of making mistakes. Why do you think so many learners feel this way?
I think most people are afraid of being judged. They worry others will laugh at them or think they're not smart if they say something wrong.
Yeah, that fear is real. I've met so many learners who say, I don't want to speak because my grammar isn't perfect. Or, I might pronounce something wrong. But honestly, no one expects perfection.
Think about how kids learn to talk. They make tons of mistakes, but nobody laughs at them. They just keep trying, and that's how they get better. Same goes for English learners.
Great point. Most native speakers don't even notice small grammar mistakes. They just focus on understanding what you're trying to say.
Exactly. One great way to beat this fear is to change how you think about it. Instead of, I might make a mistake, think, every mistake helps me learn.
Love that. And here's another tip. Start small. If you're nervous, don't jump into long conversations. Just try saying 1 or 2 sentences at a time.
Great idea. You can also practice alone. Stand in front of a mirror and talk about your day in English. No pressure since nobody's listening.
Another fun trick is recording yourself. Talk about something simple, listen to it, and try again. You'll see yourself improving, and that's a huge confidence boost.
So helpful. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. Nobody learns a language overnight. Just keep speaking, keep making mistakes, and keep learning.
Absolutely. The more mistakes you make, the faster you improve. So embrace them. Now, let's talk about passive versus active learning.
Great topic. Passive learning is when you're just taking in information, watching videos, listening to podcasts, or reading. These help you understand English, but they don't help you speak.
Right. Active speaking means actually using English, having conversations, and forming sentences in real time. That's the only way to get fluent.
The problem is most learners spend like 90% of their time on passive learning and almost no time actually speaking. So they understand everything but can't talk.
It's like learning guitar by only watching videos. You might know how it works, but until you pick up the guitar and practice, you won't be able to play.
Exactly. Passive learning feels comfortable, no pressure, no mistakes. But to speak fluently, you've got to step outside your comfort zone and start talking.
Studies show people remember 90% of what they actively do, but only 10 to 20% of what they just listen to or read. So if you're only watching and listening, you're missing out big time.
Wow, that's eye-opening. So what are some practical ways to move from passive to active speaking?
One simple method is shadowing. Listen to a sentence from a podcast or video and repeat it right away. Great for pronunciation and fluency.
Love that! Another idea is thinking in English. Instead of translating in your head, try describing what you're doing in English throughout the day.
And definitely speak out loud every day, even if you're alone. Talk about your day, describe what you see, or even have a fake conversation with yourself.
The key is training your brain to speak, not just listen. The more you practice actively, the faster you'll improve.
Now let's talk about how your environment affects your English speaking. Rosa, how important is environment for language learning?
Huge. If you're surrounded by English speakers, you naturally hear and use English every day. But if nobody around you speaks English, it's way harder to practice.
So many learners tell me, I don't have anyone to practice with, and I totally get that it's tough when English isn't part of your daily life.
The good news is you don't need to live in an English-speaking country to create an English-rich environment.
There are tons of ways to bring English into your everyday life. What are some simple things people can do?
Change your phone and social media language to English. This forces you to see and read English every single day.
Great one! Also, listen to English music, podcasts, and audiobooks while doing everyday stuff like cooking, walking, or driving.
And here's a fun tip. Talk to yourself in English. You don't need a partner. Just describe what you're doing out loud or have imaginary conversations.
For real interaction, join online English communities, language exchange apps, or find speaking partners on social media.
The key is surrounding yourself with as much English as possible. Even without living in an English-speaking country, you can create your own English bubble.
Now, let's dive into some powerful techniques to improve speaking fluency. Rosa, what's one of your favorite techniques?
I love the shadowing technique. It's super simple but really effective. Just listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say immediately, copying their pronunciation and rhythm.
That's awesome for improving fluency, pronunciation, and confidence. And you can do it with podcasts, movies, or YouTube videos.
Another great technique is thinking directly in English. Many learners translate from their native language first, which slows them down. Instead, try describing things around you directly in English, like, I'm making coffee, or the sky is blue today.
Love that. It trains your brain to process English naturally instead of translating. Speaking of natural speaking, storytelling is another great technique.
Ooh, how does storytelling help with fluency?
When you tell a story, you practice forming full sentences and expressing ideas smoothly. Try telling a short personal story or making up a simple story based on a picture.
Such a fun way to practice. Another powerful technique is recording yourself speaking. It might feel weird at first, but listening to your own voice helps you notice mistakes and improve.
And try asking and answering questions out loud. Pretend you're in a conversation and answer common questions like, "What did you do today?" Or, "What's your favorite movie and why?"
The more you practice real conversations, the more natural speaking will feel. And don't forget, speak every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Consistency is key.
Absolutely. The more you speak, the more fluent you become. Now, let's talk about the mindset shift needed to become a confident English speaker.
Many learners feel nervous because they're afraid of making mistakes, being judged, or blanking on words. But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of learning.
Nobody speaks perfectly from the beginning. Even native speakers mess up. But if you let fear stop you, you'll never improve. The key is changing how you think about it.
Instead of thinking, what if I make a mistake? Try thinking, every mistake is a step toward fluency.
One of the best ways to build confidence is starting small. You don't need to have a full conversation right away. Just say a few sentences to yourself or practice with a friend.
And here's a simple but powerful trick. Slow down when you speak. Many learners think they need to speak fast to sound fluent. But fluency isn't about speed. It's about clarity.
So true. And use positive self-talk. Instead of saying, "My English is bad," say, "I'm improving every day." Your mindset totally affects your confidence.
Exactly. And surround yourself with English conversations as much as possible. The more you listen and speak, the more comfortable you'll feel.
Confidence comes from action. The more you practice, the less anxious you'll feel. So let's wrap up with our final thoughts.
The biggest takeaway is this. Speaking English is a skill, not just knowledge. The more you practice, the more confident and fluent you'll become. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start speaking. Start today.
Remember, mistakes are part of the journey. Every time you speak, you're improving. Surround yourself with English, practice daily, and push past your fear.
If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to our podcast and share it with a friend who's also learning English.
Check out our other episodes for more speaking practice tips. Keep watching.